I'm studying Cantonese from scratch using the Refold method, and today I'm going to talk a bit about how I chose Refold and how you can make an informed decision about which language learning method to use, even if you've never studied a language before. Before you get started, it helps to be clear about what exactly you're trying to achieve. Are you travelling to another country next month and just trying to get some basic survival phrases under your belt as quickly as possible? Or are you perhaps trying to reach as near to native level as possible over a number of years? The best approach for these two different aims and others in between is likely to be very different. Now that your goal is clear, a logical step is to find people who have achieved that goal before you. In theory, you can then just do what they did and achieve the same results. Of course, it's never that simple, but it's a good first step. This doesn't necessarily have to be in your target language, as language learning methods are largely transferable. Still, the further away from your target language it is, the more independent research you're going to have to do. It also helps to find people who are in a similar situation to you when they learnt. The main point here is, were they in a country where the target language is spoken or not? Now, you may know suitable people in real life, but for most of us the starting point is going to be the internet, and more specifically YouTube. A word of caution when it comes to evaluating YouTube language learners. Your beginner's ear is not a good judge of their language level, nor is the title of their video, their subscriber count, or even all the complimentary comments under their video. If possible, get a native speaker you know to evaluate their language level. Failing that, you may be able to find discussions or reviews which will give you an idea. Now, many people have reached a high level in a foreign language, but far fewer have put serious effort into explaining how they did it and making it as easy as possible for others to follow. This is an area where the method I'm following, Refold, really shines. There's a lot of documentation available, both written and in video form, and at various levels of granularity. You'll also want to consider the experience of other people who've tried following the guidance at this point. Is there evidence of other people who have followed the method and achieved success? Is there a community of learners built up around the method? This isn't essential, but it can really be helpful. Again, this is an area where Refold stands out. This is an optional step, but you may also like to consider the theoretical basis of any method you're considering following. I wouldn't suggest spending hours poring over academic papers at this stage, but it's good to know that the efficacy of any method you're considering, or at least elements of it, is backed by research. In the case of Refold, the idea of exposing yourself to large volumes of comprehensible input leans heavily on the work of the linguist Stephen Krashen. Once you've done some research, it's time to dive in and get started. It's very easy to get sucked into obsessing over all the details of the perfect method, but this is a trap. Probably the single biggest determinant of your success in learning a language will be the number of hours you spend on it, so it really makes sense to get started as soon as possible. Getting started doesn't commit you to following a method for life. You can keep reading and learning about different methods, you can make small adjustments to how you study, or you can change direction completely. Whatever you do, the time you've spent already learning that language isn't going to go to waste. A quick note on classes. Now, many in the online language learning community look down on classes, pointing out that the teacher has to try to cater to varying levels within the class. They often follow textbooks which have outdated phrases and vocabulary and an excessive focus on grammar. And depending on where you stand on the input versus output question, they may force you to output too early. But classes also have many advantages. They give you an incentive to keep learning. They embed you in a community of other learners, and they often give you access to great teachers. If you want to join a class, by all means do so. Just be aware that to reach a high level in a language, you will inevitably have to do a lot of study outside the class as well. So it still makes sense to do some research and think about what method you'd like to use for your self-study. If you found this video interesting, you may find this video where I walk through the Refold Quick Starter Guide for Cantonese helpful. And if you'd like to see more of my content, please do click up here to subscribe and hit that notification bell, like the video, and please comment below. Hope to see you soon. Bye bye.